Good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Welcome.
We are elated that you are joining us on today, and we ask that you like, tag, share,
Yes,
and
yes,
invite
yes.
someone else to join this session tonight. You do not want to miss it, and you don't
Yes.
want someone else to miss it. So please
Yep.
go ahead, tell somebody to jump on that we are on with some special guests on tonight.
Yes, we
And I
are.
am super excited to have them.
Yes, and I would hate for anybody to miss this.
Absolutely.
I would hate for anybody to miss this. Come on, like, tag, and share. Invite somebody
Absolutely.
else.
And let us know that you're watching. I can
Yes.
see that people are joining and are watching. I don't know who you are right now, but please tell us hello. Let us know that
What's
you're
up, Vic?
here. Hey, Mr. Victor, Deacon Vic, how are you? We are excited that you all are joining us on tonight. So, we have kind of changed our name from Testimony Tuesday to Tuesday's Testimony Talking Tea.
Yep.
And so that just expands it. We're able to talk about a little bit more. Hey, Miss Sheila. Hey, Janice, Overseer.
Dr. Dixon.
Hello, Dr. Dixon. Thank you for joining us. Yes, we are so excited to have you all. So we are going to jump right in. Hey, Miss Sheila. I love you. All right. So Testimony Tuesday, we always want to talk about what God is doing, what he has done. A lot of times we always hear the Bible stories of the miracles, signs, and wonders that Jesus did back in the day, but he's still doing miracles, signs, and wonders today. He's the same yesterday, today, and forevermore, and he's still doing it. And so we want you to know, to strengthen your faith as to what the Lord is doing. And so our scripture base is from Revelations.
Yep, it's from Revelation chapter 12, verses 10 and 11. And it reads, "And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death."
And so there's power in the testimony.
There really is.
And so we're going to jump right in. Don't want to prolong it. For tonight, we have two special guests that are amazing in their own right. And so we're going to bring Bishop James Watson.
Yes.
And his lovely wife, Dr. Nikita Garris-Watson.
Yes.
We are bringing them up to the stage. Thank you all for joining us on today.
Yes. Such an honor.
It is such an honor to have you all join us on today. We are excited that you are here. We are excited to hear from you. And so you all have Real, Relevant, and Raw, which is real talk, and Sacred Insights, which is amazing within itself. So I want to introduce you all today. They've been married since July 2011. Bishop James Watson and Dr. Nikita Garris-Watson are the heart and leadership behind Real, Relevant, and Raw, Real Talk, Sacred Insight. Their love story, marked by God's grace and relentless commitment, has become a living testimony of what it means to build, battle, and believe together. As ministry leaders, authors, and mentors, they have dedicated their lives to equipping couples with practical and spiritual tools to cultivate strong, purpose-filled relationships.
Wow.
Together, they serve as the senior leaders of Word of Deliverance Worldwide Ministries, a non-denominational mobile ministry with a mission to matter and not to be mega. Isn't that powerful within itself?
It is.
Rooted in deliverance, transparency, and restoration, WODWM exists to build relationships that heal individuals and communities alike. It is so needed. It is so needed. Bishop J. Watson is a respected spiritual leader, philanthropist, and CEO of Strong Men Ministries, where he stands on the front lines of spiritual warfare for healing of families, especially men. Known for his authenticity and compassion, Bishop J lives by the motto, meeting people where they are so that they may get to God. His ministry is grounded in the power of prayer, fasting, and practical application of God's word. He brings over 2 decades of leadership experience from the commercial trucking industry, which he sacrificially left to serve closer to home and to help restore broken lives. He is the visionary author of Brewing with the Bishop, Prayer on Tap, and its powerful companion, Prayer on Tap, the Workbook. Known for his bold voice, prophetic insight, and relatable wit, Bishop J equips believers to cultivate a deeper and more intentional prayer life through these transformative resources. He invites readers not to only talk to God, but to grow with God, offering spiritual nourishment that is always on tap. I love it. Welcome, Bishop. We are excited to have you on tonight.
Wow.
Dr. Nikita Garris-Watson, affectionately known as the Stiletto Preacher, is a survivor, strategist, and spirit-led trailblazer. As an apostle, best-selling author, educator, and CEO of Dr. Key Enterprises, she uses her own testimony of childhood and adult abuse to bring deliverance to both the neighborhood and the nations. Armed with a bachelor's degree, 2 master's degrees, and a doctorate of ministry, and a fire for transformational impact, Dr. Key operates at the intersection of faith, education, healing, and justice. Through her teaching, speaking, and writing, including her best-selling books, Damaged But Destined, So What, Now What, and Damaged But Destined, The Deliverance Diary, she proves that pain can become purpose and brokenness can lead to breakthrough. These works are not just inspirational, they are instructional, equipping readers with spiritual tools to confront their past, embrace their healing, and walk boldly in their divine assignments. I am excited.
This is some international, worldwide stuff.
I'm just telling you who we have.
Do it.
The pulpit, leading a workshop, a books at an outreach event. Her message remains the same. You may have been damaged, but you are still destined, and your destiny deserves your full healing.
Yes, Lord.
Amazing.
Wow.
Amazing. Their lives are a reflection of the message they preach. They love, when rooted in God, can endure storms, inspire change, and lead to purpose-driven impact. I am excited to have you all with us on today.
Yes.
And so I want to jump right in. Thank you again for coming, for
Thank you all.
Speaking with us on today. We are excited.
Yes.
And so we want to jump right in. Your marriage is described as a testament of God's grace. Can you share a pivotal moment when you both knew that your union was divinely purposed?
Right when I met her.
Wow.
Right when I met her, when I turned the corner. Thank you all so much. I'm gonna jump right into the question. You've set the stage, but I just want to say thank you to the both of you for allowing us to be on your platform. But when I met her, I came out. It was Books a Million at that particular point in South Park, in Richmond, closer to Petersburg, Colonial Heights, Virginia. I turned the corner, walked around, and saw her get out the car. She had this white blouse on with these jeans on. And when I turned the corner, I said, "Oh my God, I did not expect what I was expecting, but thank you, Jesus." And that was the pivotal moment right there. And she met me with roses in her hand and a book in her hand, and I cried that very moment. So I knew it was a pivotal moment at that particular moment. But I'll leave room for her to give her side of the testimony.
You're doing a good job. You're doing a good job. And I did. I greeted my husband with flowers, the book 5 Love Languages, because I knew in that moment, I didn't know what God was going to do, but I knew that he needed to be treated with honor But you asked a question about purpose. I knew that there was purpose in the marriage when we both recognized that we had broken issues from our past, but we had a willingness to still try, a willingness to do something different. We are both this is our second marriage for both of us. And so there were a lot of reasons not to re-engage, not to become a part of one another's life. But when we both decided that our pain would not take away our purpose, I knew. And then my husband, because of our conversation, we talked a lot. My husband had asked me a question that had never been asked in my life. And his thing, as he learned about my life, was, is there anything I can do that would trigger your past? Anything that I would do? And the fact that that mattered to him let me know that he needed my full attention. He deserved my full attention. And so that became the pattern of who we were, that we did not disregard anything, but we said that in spite of or despite these things, can we still build something beautiful? And that's what we've been doing now for 14 years.
14 years.
Wow.
Man, that's powerful.
That is powerful.
Wow. Yeah. And I'm inclined to believe that though this is both of you guys' second marriage, yet is your last.
Oh yeah, this is it. There is.
Yeah.
I told my husband I wanted to be Alpha and Omega of love in his life.
Yeah,
I wanted him to forget everything before me, and there would be nothing behind me.
Bishop, you the man.
Listen, let me tell you something. Don't do it, dude. She might put me on the clock, and she knows that.
And you know what it means. You still owe me from Sunday. Don't play.
I still owe you from Sunday. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that was pivotal for us, was understanding that we were safe enough for restoration, that we could be a safe place to be restored in each other's life. That I could be safe with him and he could be safe with me. That was critical. And when you have safety, you also have vulnerability, and that bursts purpose.
Yes.
We didn't know what we didn't know what that purpose was going to be. We're still learning, like who are we? Why did it take 8 years for these two books? What's fighting? But we're learning it and growing together.
Right.
And so we're allowing each other the permission to become. We didn't hold each other hostage to who we were when we first met. We left each other with permission to become whoever God wanted us to be, and we're doing it collectively.
Absolutely.
We're doing it together.
That is so amazing.
And then it was another pivotal moment as well. It was a place where when I was driving, I've been driving over the road for 25 years. All glory be to God that I had no accidents, no incidents, and a couple of vehicular problems. But other than that, it was all well over the road. And it just came to a point where I needed my wife. I know my wife needed my attention. She needed me to be closer to her. And so I just, with the job moving, the first move, they moved to Cedartown, Georgia. And I traveled down to Georgia, kept coming back through. And then they decided, hey, we're going to shut this down and we're going to move everything out to Cleveland, Ohio. I said, well, I'm not going out to Cleveland, Ohio. So I just decided, listen, I'm going to just go do the work of the Lord, be at home, protect my family, get some time back that probably was missed with my children. And so it was a pivotal moment at that moment, just knowing that I was walking away from a job that really the pay would have been good if I hadn't been still paying child support, but it was still a good job. It was still a good job. It still kept the bills paid. But hey, my thing was I was going to take care of my children regardless of what happened. I was going to take, and nothing against my ex-wife. I was just determined I was going to take care of my children and take care of the household that I was currently living in. So it blessed me to know that she was designed just for my destiny, to make our destiny grow greater.
Wow.
Oh, wow. That's powerful.
Yes, it is.
That's powerful.
Man.
She was designed just for your destiny.
Yeah. Just for my destiny, yes.
Yes.
That's powerful.
Wow.
So
I know you're glad you didn't go to Ohio.
No, sir. I did not want to go out there. It was cold. I knew I would, and going out there was just going to push me out even further because all those loads kept you up north. Nothing brought you back south. So I was like, no, sir. I cannot do that. I was needing her, and I believe that she was needing me even more.
Right. Right.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And so, which leads to my next question. What does it mean when you talk about being spiritually and practically to build and believe and battle together when facing life's challenges?
I'm going to go first on this one. For us, that's waking up and choosing each other every day. That's the first part of building. Is we're choosing one another every single day. It doesn't mean that everything's always beautiful, everything's always working out together, but we are choosing that. I choose to love you today. I choose to stay committed to what we're about. But in that, we also have, so we have our personal visions in our lives. We have the ministry vision, and we're building when the budget doesn't match, because technically and realistically, we should have walked away from it all because so many things have happened, so much has been lost. But in our marriage, what I found with my husband was that faith is our anchor and unity is our weapon. And so together we are stronger. And so we have continued to forge forward when it didn't make sense. When it should have ended, when everything, whether it was the door of the church should have been closed, whether we should have given up on these 2 books that have come up, we stayed under the thing that, one, we're stronger together. That's always been our motto. At one point, we used to say we're all we got, but then we realized that might not be good, because we do have other people. Like we have Dr. Tomosa Dixon that we share. That's our mutual best friend now. I have to share. We have my other people that love us, and we know they love us. Our Dr. Son that I saw come on, Dr. Chess. So we do have other people in the fight, but when it comes down to it, our unity is our greatest weapon against the enemy. So we stand on that. We're stronger together. So faith is our anchor. Unity is our weapon against the enemy, because the Lord himself honors agreement. And he said, if any 2 shall touch and agree on anything. And so we have a commitment to touch and agree first and foremost on our marriage. That's our first. And then whatever else we can fight together, we fight. And we fight together. We don't fight each other. We fight together.
Wow.
Yeah. Man, I'm so glad you didn't walk away.
Absolutely. And when we're talking about building, when you build a battle and believe together, it just simply means that one person in the relationship is holding the blueprint while the other person is swinging the hammer. And what happens is we take turns and we never stop building what God has joined together, because the Bible tells us what God has joined together, let no man separate or put us under. And even when we're building spiritually, we believe God to be every brick that we lay. He's the brick, he's the foundation, he's the roof, he's the ceiling, he's our everything. And so we build and we battle together. We have this thing where we're gonna fight back to back. I got your back, you got mine. And so we make sure that we cover each other in covenant, and we cover each other no matter what. My wife, she'll tell you, if I get out the car and something jump off, we get out the car. It ain't just
we get out the car.
Yes, sir.
We get out the car.
We fight. We fight.
Yeah, we fight.
My husband, when we first got together, and he still does it, is he opens my car door, which is fine. I don't touch doors. He made it clear I don't touch a door when he's around. Fine. But he used to open my car door and he would close it, and I would open it back up, and he couldn't understand. I'm gonna reach over and open his door, but I told him I need to be able to get out that car, and he was like, well, I need you to be safe. I was like, no, I can dial 911 and throw these hands at the same time. I was like, if you fight, we fight. And that remains our same perspective. If you fight, is whether it's physical, spiritual, emotional, financial, if you fight, we fight. He will never, ever, as long as I have breath, have to fight by himself. And he had to come to understand that when I said, I got your back, I meant that. When I said that when you fight, we fight, it doesn't matter what it is. It is, when we got together, it was no longer me. It was a we. That M was flipped, and it became we on everything. So I told him, don't close my car door. I'll close the door. You can open the door and put me in, but I don't close that door until he's in safe like me. And then we pull off. But I told him I can dial 911 and throw these hands.
Man. Ooh, wow, Bishop, you got a real rider. It got warm.
It's a
Yes,
ride
sir.
and live.
Right. That's right. Ride and live. Look,
Yeah.
it got a little warmer here for a second when you talked about opening the doors. I saw her look at me, but I was looking straight ahead. I ain't even look. I'm focused. I'm paying attention, man.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah, I
man.
don't open doors
Oh,
when
I
Bishop.
love it.
That's his rule. I'm, of course, clearly I can open my own door, but that's his rule. That so he could be walking behind me. So I probably look crazy to some people. I just stop and I stand there because if that's important to him, then it's important to me. Of course, I can open my own door. If his hands are full, I don't pay him any mind because I'm not gonna let him. I'm not gonna stand by and watch him struggle to try to keep a door open. So if his hands are full, I'm gonna open the door for him. But in that moment, if that's what's important, and we learned what was important to one another, and we had to learn that early because we didn't come in as high schoolers, we didn't come in as teenagers, we came in as grown people with some miles on us, and so we had to now maneuver around what are the things that are really important. And I learned that the door was do the door. I found out from Bishop that he's big about the trash can. Take the trash out, homie. It doesn't bother me. So many times women are guilty of trying to prove our independence. I am strong enough to be soft and still strong enough to show up strong when I need to. So if my husband wants to take out the trash, take out the trash. When he's not home, of course, like he said, he was over the road. There were days that I would have to take out the trash. But if those are things that matter and it shows up as important, I have an alpha male husband. That's one thing. My husband is fully alpha male. So you learn how to maneuver differently when you're dealing with a man's man.
And here it is, Deacon Joan. Here it is. I grew up in an era where a gentleman had a giant heart. So I'm a gentleman with a giant heart, and so I want to make sure that I'm gentle enough with her that she understands that this giant right here is willing and able to do everything to make sure her steps are covered and that she gets to where she's going without any hurt, harm, or danger coming her way. So I'm at protection level all the days of my life.
Wow.
Yes, sir. She is. I tell her all the time, she is my investment. I'm going to reap a lot of dividends over this relationship because she is truly my investment. I'm investing my time into her. She's investing her time into me, and there are going to be rewards for those type of investments. It takes you years, sometimes years, to build a large portfolio, but I'm just praying that God would do it for us suddenly.
Well.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm a Genesis 26:12 investment. In the same season that he sows, he's gonna get back 100-fold. So, and the investment is not. A lot of people are thinking financial. Actually, that's not my husband's investment because for the first 5 years, I wouldn't let my husband buy me any gifts. My love language is not gifts. I told my husband from the beginning, if I want it, I'll buy it. But I wanted him to invest himself. I wanted the man. I wanted a part of him that he had never given anybody else. I wanted the dividends because when you make an investment, you expect a dividend, which meant I wanted something from here that he had never invested. And I wanted the deepest part of him. I told him, even though I appreciated the fact that he was a man of God, I wanted the man. I wanted the deepest part of the man. And that required him to really do some soul searching. He was used to relationships and situations where people only saw him for what he had in his bank account. I told him there was nothing he could buy that would ever. The price for my life had already been paid. That was paid on the cross.
Wow.
It had already been paid. There was nothing he could put in a box that would equate to who he was. I needed him to invest himself because true investment is himself. And we had to learn that. So I told him no gifts for 5 years. And he had a hard time with that because although he couldn't give me any, wasn't meaning he wasn't receiving any. So I was making investments in him in places where he had not been receiving. He had not been poured into. He had not been appreciated. His bank account meant nothing to me in that season. My only thing to him was, could you pay your own bills? And in a season he could, in a season he couldn't. But the couldn't wasn't his fault. It was the loss of employment that came in that. But it was like, okay, I'm not gonna flinch. He had to find out that finances don't make me flinch. I got a hustle mentality. I'm gonna make it happen some type of way.
Wow.
Don't I know
that is so amazing. Y'all are sharing some really. Excuse me 1 second. Honey, can you tell me don't buy you none for 5 years?
You start my love languages.
I tried it. Man, y'all talking some heavy stuff, man. Some heavy stuff. This is gonna bless a lot of people, and I'm sure that it has already blessed people, just by your ministry and just by your lives individually as well as collectively. This is so good.
Can I ask a question? I know you say your love language is gifts, because we do have these conversations with others, and that's a reasonable, but I don't believe that you would ask your husband to sacrifice the responsibility of home to get you a gift.
Absolutely.
And I don't believe that your gifts have to have a certain price tag. They have to have thought to them. They have to have meaning. Right. And so a lot of people misunderstand that even when somebody has a love language of gifts, that those gifts don't necessarily have to be $10,000 or $15,000. And as a matter of fact, China just pretty much called everybody to the carpet the other day when they told y'all everything came from China. So it's the thought behind it. What were you thinking when you got me the gifts? Like for my birthday this year, Bishop was given a challenge. He had to go, he could only get my gifts from Dollar Tree, but he had to explain why he chose these gifts. So it keeps, I'm always trying to get him to think and to see where we are and how he believes, how he sees me and how I see him. So every gift he got from me had to come from Dollar Tree. And he did so good. He broke it on one. He only broke it on one because they didn't sell it, but everything else, but he only went like 28 cents over, $1.25 trees really. But it's the challenge of, you have to show me love in a way. Because again, I got shoes and clothes and stuff for days. So that's not impressive to me. But to see his heart and to see how he what he remembers, applesauce. Applesauce is my absolute favorite thing, and that's what he called me in the beginning. So of course applesauce was in there. But he had another meaning behind the applesauce, the sweetness. He got the sweetened applesauce. I've been doing unsweetened. Because he was like, I can't get you anything unsweetened because you're sweet. So all those things made a difference.
Yeah. Wow, that was very creative.
And he had to work for it though. And I gave him a warning because I definitely wouldn't throw it on him at the last minute. But he had about 3 weeks to work it through.
Yeah.
Wow. I think we ought to try that Dollar Tree thing.
Or either Deacon, you can do this. When we first started dating, we used to do dirty 30 dates. You had to do your date. Your date. You could go out. We could go out to the movies or whatever you want to do, but your date had to be $30 or less. And so we used to call those dates dirty 30.
Wow.
So
I love it.
Amazing.
So it took the financial pressure of always having to, go out trying to find jewelry, trying to find a purse, or trying to find and I'm the type of person I love to get those, but when my bank account wasn't matching the love of what I wanted to show through a gift, then it made it difficult. So then I felt like I wasn't good enough because I didn't have enough to get what I wanted to get for her. And so her telling me that, hey, when we did this dirty 30, it simplified it, and it made me pull back from looking at the money aspect to just saying, what thoughts are you putting into making sure that you get your wife the right gift? And so sometimes, it's not necessarily all about money. It's about what thought did you put into, how do I make you feel? What gift can you give me that really shows me how you feel about me?
Wow, that is so good because, like Dr. Key was saying, it really is. It's easy to go out and, purchase some red bottoms, or it's easy to do that. But when you have to put some thought into this thing, and you can't, and you have a limit that's set, that's below what you would normally, you have to make it work within that. That's amazing.
It is.
Yep.
And then the greater challenge for him is that I'm not into name brand stuff. So those that like name brand, there's no dishonor to them. But I told him I want my own name on stuff. I'm not doing free advertisement. So you can't, most of the time you all are going to see me with my own name, because for me, that's what matters. What I wear is what I represent. And so I'm not going to be out here wearing Michael Kors and Louis Vuitton, and I don't know how they live in, because that matters to me. And so and everything I give is an investment. And so for me to invest into a business means I believe in what you believe in. And we found out that a lot of companies we've been investing in don't have the same values.
Yes.
So for my husband, now he can give me books. He knows, but even in terms of clothes, our taste is typically not going to be the same. So it was easier not to have him had to go back to the store. So, one of the safe things is give me the Amazon gift card. Let me or go ahead and send the cash app. Let's just do it that way. So that way it's not offensive. And even with that, we're creative in how we do that. On the other flip side of that, my husband wasn't used to receiving gifts, so I would try to give him things pretty consistently and try to anticipate what he would not get for himself. And that's been fun to give him things that he would never expect. And I love giving because his responses is so fun. If you all could have seen him when he got his cowboy hat for Christmas, he does his whole and his cowboy boot.
The boot walk.
And he said it. Yeah, he says it in passing. So I try to catch the thing he's saying in passing, and I added into I got to get that from my husband list, because blessing him if I'm his favor, it should show up in his life, and that's one of the ways I think favor shows up in his life.
Wow, very good.
I love that.
So, as ministry leaders and authors, how do you protect your marriage from becoming overwhelmed by external responsibilities?
I'll take the lead on this one. We make appointments for us, just like we make appointments for everything else. Basically put, date night is sacred. Nothing's going to interrupt that. Nothing's going to pause that. Date night is date night. And so when we said yes to ministry, we also said yes to each other. So we're going to make sure that my wife she loves what we call UDA. And for her, that's undivided attention. And so I try to make sure that if I schedule something, I got to stick with what I schedule, and I got to do it. So we got to plan it, we got to schedule it, and then we got to do it. So that'll preach for somebody. You got to schedule it, you got to plan it, you got to schedule it, and then you got to do it. And so when we do those three things, I think that helps us keep from being overwhelmed with external responsibilities.
Wow,
that's good.
The job can get demanding, work can get demanding, things around the house can get demanding. If you got younger kids, they can get demanding. Our kids are grown and grown and gone and doing their own thing. So, but even still, when we got together, they were at an age where they needed our attention just as much as ministry needed our attention. So I'm glad now that I paid attention when she asked me certain things, and making sure that the important thing, which is her, was the important thing. I put God first, and then she's the next thing on that list.
Wow.
And like my husband said, for us, while we both said, because we had already said yes to ministry before we got together, but we also say yes to each other. So we make each other a priority. Boundaries are holy for us. We treat boundaries as holy. The Sabbath, we create Sabbaths. A lot of people say, oh, it should happen naturally or organically. That sounds good until you both working full-time, ministry full-time, taking outside appointments. At one time, we were both in school. So we began to make it where we set it on the schedule and we made it happen. And then also just the vulnerability of saying, I need time with you. And I will say that to my husband. Like when I feel like we're out of sync, I'm like, okay, even if it's not on the schedule, we need to slow down. We need to have this time together. We need to make these things happen. Let's just take this. We'll look at the calendar. You know what? It may not happen. We're going to take this morning time. We're going to have breakfast together. I know how to say to him, I need light skin pancakes. If I say I want some light skin pancakes, my husband's going to make it happen. So there are certain key things and key words that lets him know outside of, UDA. I'll walk beside him while he's preaching and say, I need my husband. And that's his key word, that when this is all said and done, we're not hanging out in the parking lot. We're not going to dinner with anybody. I need my husband.
Get in the car. Close the door.
Get in the car and go home.
Right.
I love that. In the intro, I read and you were talking about ministry, and ministry can be so hectic and overwhelming, and you do have to make time for one another. Tell me, why is transparency critical in spiritual and relational healing? Because that's part of, you talked about transparency and restoration, being a core part for you all. Why is that so important?
I'll go first this time. What we know about transparency is that transparency is transformative because it breaks shame. When people are able to have access to the information about the broken part of you, but they're actually walking with the healed part of you, then they believe that healing is possible for them, which is where my initial book Damage with Destiny came in. It was a transparent portion of the story that told that, you know what, I didn't always show up like this. I wasn't always like this. I didn't always believe like this, think like this, talk like this. But it was the transformative power of God that allowed me to be being the Dr. Key. I'm the first doctor in my family, but I'm not going to be the last. Those types of things of recognizing what it took, the processes and the steps to becoming. And so by being transparent, it's not taken away from the power of God, but it's actually the proof of God's power in our life. And so when we're transparent, we become God's proof and God's evidence. And if nothing else, my entire life is not because I'm that good or that great. All that you read and all that you didn't have access to is all proof of God's power when we submit to process. And what you see is my process. I could have used excuses, but God wanted an example. And that's what we have become individually and collectively, is the proof of God's power, the example of what encounters with him can do. It is literally saying that you don't have to stay the same. You may be here today, but because of who God is, because of the power of the cross, that the cross still works. And people need to see that. They need to know that people are not living two different lifestyles, that no, this is who I am. This is who I am when the doors are open and when the doors are closed. This is who I am at home and in private, which is why we gave some of our personal stories, because we're not going to be on National Enquirer. We made a decision together that we would not be the ones to leave a mark on God's name, that we would be the ones to try to make God's name great.
Yes.
And if it costs us a lot.
Wow.
And even as I talk about us, I honor you, the two of you, because I know a portion of your testimony. I know what you went through, but both of you have made God look good despite what you lost.
Wow. Yeah.
Most people can only testify of God's goodness when they get what they want. How many people will testify of God's goodness when they lost what they love the most? And that's why it's such an honor for us to be with you all today, because there will never be a moment that when I learned about your story and I saw you all still testify of God's goodness, that level of commitment to God, that level of faith, we don't see that. You all will be the ones where Jesus says, this is the level of faith I was looking for in the earth realm. I believe that you all are in the hall of faith.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing.
Wow. You're making my eyes swell. You're making my eyes swell.
Yeah. And I can attest to what she just said, because when I first met you, Dick, listen, man, I said that's a man's man right there. That's a grown man right there. That's about that business. And when I say that about another man, that just simply means his heart is turned toward God. You presented yourself the first time I saw you as a man with clean hands and a pure heart. And when I saw that on you, it radiated God's power, his spirit, and his love all through you. And so I'll never forget that first handshake. I'll never forget the first hug. So thank you all for being the example in the earth realm that most people really want to see and need to see. And so, but to even answer your question about why transparency is so critical. Transparency in ministry is so critical because we got to look at it from this perspective. We cannot heal what we hide. If we try to heal and we're still hiding, we're hindering. And so God wants to see us at a place where we just open up to him and stop hiding. God, he said he knows everything. He knows the hairs on our head. He knows what we think of far off. So what are you hiding? Just come out of hiding, and so you can get your healing. And so for me, it took me coming out of hiding from pride, from being behind the jail cell of pride, to really get my healing. And so that's why transparency is so relevant in this time, in this season, because it's not to make a meme out of somebody. You're telling you're being transparent so that others may heal from what they may be hiding from, because if they hear your story, then they can say, well, man, I can come out from behind that rock and get, and let the rock, that's supposed to build me. And so that's why, because we've counseled a lot of couples that you could see the mask on their face while they were in counseling, and we're just here so our transparency can break that mask, let them take the mask off and leave it off for good.
Wow. Bishop, when you say we cannot heal what we hide, that is so powerful. And I mean, and I think that so many people are hurting today because they're still hiding.
They're still hiding.
Yeah. They got on the mask.
They have on a mask. They're still hiding. And I think that I think that people are hurt behind leadership that hides.
Right. That hides.
And so I love the fact that you all are talking about being fully transparent, because even in your transparency, when you testify of where the Lord has brought you, as Dr. King, was talking about before, it helps me, because we all have something that we deal with and that we're battling with, or something that we're not proud of in our lives. But when you're able to be fully transparent and allow people to see this is what was, it's not what's now, it shows the power of God. And so that is, wow.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
And I don't, if I want to add that with ministry, a lot of people, they have this expectation of how they're supposed to show up, to keep up the image, to keep up the persona. But there is no power in personas. God cannot move in who we pretend to be. And that's just my belief, that when we're pretending, we're actually causing other people to miss the truth of God. If we allow people to say, even the disappointment, even like we just had a service and an encounter where one of the things that we had to deal with in the room was that everybody in the room was angry with God about something. And because they had never been taught to have the real conversation with God, that they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. A lot of people get stuck at spirit and they never get to truth. And that's why we don't see transformation. But if we God, let me give you truth. Because with transparency comes transformation. When we give God truth, it's saying, God, look, I'm not feeling you right now. I love you, but I ain't feeling how you moving in my life. I don't really like what you allow happen. I don't understand where we are, but we believe that we're conditioned, that we got to say, well, I heard the Lord say, I'm in a season, y'all, where I can hear for everybody but myself. I could, in a moment's time, the Lord has been gracious enough to let me prophesy and see other things come to happen in people's lives. But in my own life, I've heard absolutely nothing. But I still had a testimony that says, but I still trust him. People needed to understand that you have seasons in your life where God is saying absolutely nothing, or you only hear, the only thing you have is the last thing you heard. There are times where you go into prayer and you hear the echo of your own voice. People don't have those real conversations, and they leave people with a misunderstanding of who God is or how the relationship's going to be. And then people are walking away from God because people have been lying on God and lying about God. But when we're transparent, I believe that we give people access to the throne. Transparency invites people to the throne to really get the grace and the mercy that's promised to us, where it says that we can come boldly before the throne of grace. We got people out here thinking they can't even hold up their head and say, God, I can't do this no more. The Bible tells us, when I cried, he heard me and delivered me from my distress. The thing that bothers me the most is when men, it starts when they're young and told real men don't cry. I say, what? That's not scripture. Yeah. That's not even, the Bible gives us examples from Genesis to Revelation where we can find out cry. Jesus wept. If our Savior can weep, the strongest man can weep. So it's dealing with those types of the testosterone driven theories that need to be debunked. so that
My,
people
Wow.
can be real with God and we can see true transformation in our lives. That's who we are individually and collectively. We're not here to pretend. If we're not looking for chasing platforms, I don't want platforms. I'm coming for people and I'm coming for power. Keep
There
the
it is.
platform, especially if it's
Keep the
perverted. I don't
platform.
want a perverted platform.
my.
Wow.
And then you're telling me what I need to preach when I get there. No. Keep your platform. You know,
Wow.
Wow.
you trying to encourage your people to do something that you can't get them to do. No, I don't need a platform for that. I'd rather be real relevant and raw with them. I'd rather meet people where they are, let them say what they're going through, and then help them from that point. Get them from behind the mask, because once you unmask them, I deal with it every day when I come to my job. I've literally had to learn how to be a little bit more gentle with people, because you never know what they're facing just to get to that job every day. And so it has really taught me how to be humble and care for people in a different light than I used to do. Years ago, everybody going through something where you don't know what they are going through. They're going through may have caused them not to want to get up this morning, and so
Right.
that's what I want to help people get away from. And if my life can be transparent enough to be a testimony for you, that to come out of what you're dealing with, then let me do it. Use me, God. Use me until you use me up.
Wow. So that goes along with the next question. So your ministry's motto is to matter, not to mega.
Hmm.
Unpack the vision behind that statement and its relevance today.
I'm gonna have to take the lead on that, not out of dishonor from my husband, but because I was a visionary. Um, for to be mega and to be mega without meaning is to be hollow. To minister and it doesn't meet anybody, that they come in and they don't leave the same, it's not transformative. That just doesn't work for me. It didn't work for me. It wasn't who God called us to be, called me to be first and then us to be collectively. um that Sunday was not just about performance. It was something that we wanted to stay with people throughout the week. And so if we had to sacrifice the mega perspective, and I'm not dishonoring those who are mega, but what I was seeing mega, but I wasn't seeing ministry that was changing individual lives with consistency. A lot of people were hiding in mega ministries because they didn't
Yeah.
want to be accountable to their change. And
Wow.
so it was like, God, give me people, if it means that I have to, like, we don't go live because we have to create what we consider a sacred space for people to literally get in God's face. That doesn't meet the mega mentality, because that means that there's some things we do that don't we you can't use your camera. People need to be able to praise without feeling like they're gonna become somebody's next meme,
Right.
Yeah.
somebody's next post. And so we create a protected space so that people can get healed, people can get delivered. When you're deliverance ministry, there's some things that happen that don't need public consumption beyond those that are in that room. Um, and so it's creating that protected space so that when people come in, they don't feel like what happens between them and God is going to be mishandled or mismanaged. So that's where that wanted to matter. And then at the same time, we were making some decisions that didn't make sense to other people. When we were doing 4 Sundays a month, we were shutting down the church one Sunday every month, and we were going into the community. We were doing community outreach. On the budget, it didn't make sense. It didn't make sense. But in heaven, it was what we were called to do. And so we were doing it with, we weren't mega. So we had the numbers that God had given us. We were feeding 400 at times. We were going to the laundromats and we
Right.
were meeting the needs and paying for people to get their clothes washed. And we were doing it
Right,
when none of
guys.
it made sense. And we weren't trying to even evangelize or recruit for our church. We were just saying we wanted to show up different as the antithesis to what people had thought were thinking about the church, because that's so important to me, is that we cause people to rethink what they believe about church and church leadership. Um, the church unfortunately has a horrible reputation right now, and people are trying to cover it up instead of clean it up. And we wanted to be a part of the cleanup team.
Wow. Wow.
That's the truth.
Right.
Trying to cover it up instead of cleaning it up.
That is the
Yeah.
truth.
Yeah.
Wow.
And digging, if I can add to that, what you asked about matter and not being mega, it's easy. And hear me out on this one. It's easy to chase crowds, but we were called to chase impact. We are empowering the people to build a kingdom. And that's what we want to do. Like I said, it's easy to chase crowds, but
Yes.
but we came to chase impact. And what we learned from that was that Jesus flipped the world with just 12, not 12,000.
Yes.
I'd rather matter feeding 5,000 than trying to succumb to just what the world wants.
Okay, wow. And I want to piggyback off what my husband says, is that when we think about our influence in life and when we measure success, we don't measure success by the people in seats. And somebody would say, well, that's easy to say because you're a small ministry, so forth and so on. No, we measure success by how is a person's life different from the time that they connect with us. And we can say without any debate that we have those who came to us who had been failing out of school, who now are doctors who did dissertations and didn't buy it. We can say that we have people who had never known home ownership, who have homes. We can say people who never thought they could become a walking in destiny, people who went from poverty to prosperity. We have people whose marriages were on the line that got saved. We have those who came into the church and had cancer and cancer was dried up. That for me matters. And so it may not have a camera to it. It may not have 5,000 people that know about it. But if that life was saved, if I'm called to impact the one person that's going to impact the 10,000, then let me do well with the one person. Yes. We have, and I'll even speak, we have a ministry son who, his influence, he's been places that we haven't gone, but our assignment in his life was to work with him in character so that he could walk into his call without having to worry about becoming a conflict for the kingdom. So when you know who you are, you don't allow yourself to be measured by things that don't matter. So that when I stand before God, I don't want anybody's blood on my hands. That when I stand before God, I want to know that he can really say to me, well done, that good and faithful servant. That the prerequisite of scripture says, when you're faithful over a few things, I'll make you ruler over many. There's some people that have many but weren't faithful over the few, and that's why they're making a mess. So I want to know that I'm faithful over a few things. And that my name is clean. I want to know that I have integrity. I don't want anybody, deacon and pastor, to come on and we're having a show with you and they're going to be putting notes saying, oh, they're not like that, because there are some people who really can't minister for freedom because they got folks that got some data and documentation on them. I don't want nobody to have nothing on me that's going to make God look bad.
That's right. That's good.
That's our goal, is to matter. I want people to leave better than they came, because based on my Bible, I don't know about anybody else, but the Bibles I have, those who met our Savior, there was always something different. There was a change. There was a shift for those that were willing. Now, we don't force it on anybody, but we offer it.
Yes.
And I know that I came out different, so I want other people to be different, because the enemy's greatest weapon against people is them not knowing who they are, not knowing, using their past. No, your past does not have permission to hold you hostage or hold you prisoner. We come in with keys to unlock the door.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree.
I love it.
Man,
so powerful.
Real heavy stuff.
So powerful. So, so powerful. So, really quick, I don't even know what to ask next because it's so good, and I'm
just trying to digest.
It's the truth, but it's so powerful, and I think that COVID, made excuses for some people,
right,
who had been dealing with different things in church. This was an exit for them. Mm-hmm. And so, because they weren't, just all of the things, and then COVID made this exit for them. And so when you talk about being intentional and quality versus quantity, because that's really kind of, what I'm hearing, making sure that people's lives are changed versus, and I said this when I came to the church we're at, there were not, many members there, and it, maybe because they hadn't had a pastor, whatever, but my job was not and is not to fill a pew. but it is to build relationships between
Absolutely.
not with me, but with them and God.
Yeah.
And so pushing people into the face of God, because I think for so long when you see the mega ministries, and not, not saying that mega ministries are pushing them to them, but that is the perception of some people, that mega ministries are, person centered versus God centered. And that's not true. That's definitely, not true, because there are ministries that are feeding the people.
Absolutely.
And so I just think that that is just so powerful. And I love how you all take the time to be personable with people, to kind of people, you're tangible, you're touchable. People are able to communicate with you all as powerful as you are.
Powerful.
I love that about you all. You're relatable, and that's powerful within itself. Transparency is key for me, because the biggest, hurt came from the lack of transparency. And so I feel, and I say this all the time, just tell the truth. And I have a son right now, and I talk about him often because he is what I call brutally honest. Like, he's going to tell the truth. I mean, it doesn't matter what, he's going to tell the truth. And I love that about him. And I'm teaching him that, because when you have just seen so many things, I don't want that anymore. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm trying to say it in a kind way, but
no, I understand. What I can say to that, Pastor, is I did not, while I'm grateful for those that are membership, discipleship, sonship, daughtership, my greatest measure of my ministerial integrity was my children. And they're now my biological, because we have 4 collectively from our hearts and our joint, but my biological 2. My question for them was, tell me what you saw. Did I live a life that made you want to know God or not? And my children, they are academically brutal honest. So it's really, having these conversations, because I needed to know that I had lived a life in front of them, both in ministry and in home, that still wanted them to know God. And I'm grateful to say that they both can say that they didn't feel like I was fake. They didn't feel like that I presented a fake God. Now they're a little academic. So some days they're like, well, Mom, they don't take all that, because they're very laid back. So you never see my children shout. That ain't gonna happen. They're not gonna pick it up, put it down, but they both still have an authentic relationship with God. So to me, my greatest legacy of ministry is going to be my children. Because a lot of children don't want to deal with the church because of what they saw with their parents. I did not want that for my children. So that mattered. And then I go into the external relationships and situations from there. Like we have, Bishop and I both have one of our biological siblings who are part of the ministry. And so they're the next influence. Like, how does that feel? Because you know us in different capacities. Are we still drawing you to Christ? And then, and then it extends out, because those are the closest to you, really see the most of you. Oh, and there go my son right there. Sorry. I gotta call you right back. I'm on a show. I'll call you right back. I love you. Sorry. I thought I had on Do Not Disturb. I'm sorry. My baby, he's graduating from law school in a couple of weeks. He's on his way to Ghana. On his way to Ghana tomorrow. So yeah. So
wow.
So I'm gonna say that's confirmation. My children still call me so.
Yes.
Yes, he's
I
leaving.
love that.
So I apologize.
No apology needed. No, absolutely.
I love that. This has been absolutely amazing. Tell us, before we kind of wrap it up, tell us about Real, Relevant, and Raw. Tell us about it,
Bishop.
Real, Relevant, and Raw. We want you to make sure that you get a copy of Real, Relevant, and Raw. And why do you need a copy of Real, Relevant, and Raw? Because it's about helping you to get to your next level And even if you're not ready to move to the next level, at least you have something in your arsenal to help you weaponize, the different type of relationships or different type of individuals that you may encounter, so you'll know to ask the right questions. And we're not saying that you need to ask all the questions, 100 questions up front, but it gives you this Real Relevant Raw. It gives you information where you can actually ask your spouse, or your spouse and yourself can get together, and you can actually ask each other questions. And it's for singles as well. So we want to make sure everybody gets a copy of this in their hands so that they can learn and just glean off of what we've been through 14 years. We don't have the answers to all. We're not pretending to be perfect, but we know what our failures have been, and we hope that it'll help you get past your fears based on what we failed at before.
Baby. Wow.
And as my husband said, it's not just for couples, it's for those that want to be married or dating, engaged. It's all relational statuses. So if it's complicated, let's help you uncomplicate it. Our goal is to be able to help people, not, like we said, we're on our second marriage. We want others not to have a second marriage. We want people to have a good first marriage. We want people to be single well. There's just so many different pieces in it. We don't pretend like it's not one size fits all, because relationships are not one size fits all. But we give some foundational principles that we hope will help others to walk into great things. Hey, Ivy, Ivy owes me a read, Pastor. She owed me a read for denim jackets. Since she jumped on the screen, I want to call out. You read for me, I'll give you the coat that you saw. But so it's for whomever, wherever. And then it allows us, it's taken from the questions that we kind of did a summation of the top 25, because there are other questions we could have did, but we took the top 25 questions that we've come across in our counseling sessions. We give you all a story from our own walk. And then we give you a he says, she says, which is our two perspectives, because we are two different people.
Yes.
And then the second book, which is the prayer book, we actually now share with you prayers related to those 25 questions. And then we give you some activities and things, because we want it to be a workable, changeable, tangible, transformative literature. We don't want it to be something you just buy and throw on the shelf. We really want you to work through it and see yourself, and hopefully we can bring some healing and some hope and some help, and so people can be healed, holy, and whole. That's our goal.
I love it.
Wow.
This is so powerful. So I cannot wait. So my sister has put up a link, I believe, for you to be able to go to their website and get the book. So please click on the link.
We would be honored.
We would be honored. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So please, guys.
Or they can, if they don't want to use the link, they can actually inbox one of us directly, and they can do it direct with us. That you can use the link. It's different ways. What we have not released, and we should have, is there. If some people may prefer the ebook, this is a book that really requires you to kind of get in it and write in it. But we do have an e-version as well, so we'll send the link for the e-version. Somebody wants to buy the e-version, so whatever works, we're here to.
Okay.
And some people don't have the person in their life to walk them through that journey. So we hope that somehow these books will walk them through a journey to healing, because we just want to see happiness. We want to see Eden. God had a plan when he made Adam and Eve. We want to see Eden. And then those that are waiting on Adam or waiting on Eve or whatever, we just want to see. We want to see people in a different place in life. And so that's what we hope these books will help to be a part of.
I love it. I need some.
Life should have much laughter.
Yeah, so we want to encourage everybody to purchase these books, not only to support the powerful man and woman of God, but to invest in yourself.
Yes.
And not only can you invest in yourself, but invest in somebody else. Get a book for somebody else, because I promise you, what we've heard tonight, this evening, so amazing. But the book, both of them, all of them.
Yes. So we are super excited. Again, thank you. I am going to put the link up here again, and I did put the link as to how you can follow them on social media. And so we want you to support, get the book, all of the things.
Yes.
And again, thank you all so much for joining us.
Yes.
It has been amazing. I have so much I want to say. I just don't want to end. So, Dr.
We must do this again.
Your book, you have another book, Damaged but Destined. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to dive into that at a later time, because I'm going to have you back to talk about your story.
Yes.
And so there is so much more to the both of them. But we have a date coming up with just Dr. Key as well. And so I'm excited about that, excited to have you back. And so we're going to talk about Damaged but Destined, because I think that within itself is such a powerful read. And so, again, thank you all for joining us, guys. The link is here as to how you can get the book.
Who is Janice Ward?
Janice. Yes.
Oh, she said the marriage summit. I was like, wait a minute.
Absolutely. So, guys, you have got. Let me get my.
I thought she was telling us, and I was like, wait a minute.
Well, we do have something coming up. So, yes, Dr. Key, yes. Get ready, Dr. Key and Bishop. Get ready. Mark your calendars. Because the information that you have shared here on tonight, we got to hear some more of this. And so, guys, on June the 28th, we are calling all singles, married couples, separated, divorced, love and marriage, and Healthy Minds, Healthy Me PLLC present the Relationship Summit. And so it is coming up on June the 28th. And we want you to be a part. More information is coming out with probably by next week. The flyers will be out, and you don't want to miss it. And I won't announce who our special guests are, but anyway, I'm going to say I need this couple to check their calendar. Because this has been amazing, and this is what people need to hear.
Yes.
And so, Janice said, and the invite. So, yes, Dr. Key. We'll talk more.
I love it.
But yes, we need you all there, because people need to hear truth. I think we've lived in a false facade for so long. People have been masked for so long. People are looking for truth, and they need it. And so, yes, I am so excited. The Relationship Summit coming up. Get the book, Real, Relevant, and Raw.
Yes.
Hey, Shania, thank you for joining.
Yes.
We got to talk soon. Good seeing you. Guys, thank you all so much, all who have joined on tonight. We thank you, Bishop Key, Pastor Bishop James.
All that.
Dr. Key, all of it together. The Watsons, we love and appreciate you all so much. Thank you for joining us.
We love y'all.
We love y'all. Thank you.
Yes, we love you too. Thank you.
Wow.
Guys, remember to set the dates for the Relationship Summit that's coming up. We appreciate you for joining us.
Yes, and don't forget, look up those books.
Absolutely. Hey, Miss Lorraine, go back and watch all of it, Miss Lorraine, because it was absolutely amazing.
Janice said, bring all the books.
Yes. So we'll make sure. Yes.
Yep.
So thank you. Again, remember, Healthy Mind, Healthy Me is still accepting clients. So if you know someone that is in need of counseling, I am your girl. So please let them know. And join us again on next week, where we'll have another special guest. Good night. Thank you for joining.